Okay, so I guess I'm gonna repeat myself. To a degree, it's for the people in Twitch chat, but to a degree, it's for the people who might not be watching this live. Um, for those of you who are not aware, I've been kind of absent for the past week. I've been dealing with family matters. The short of it is both of my parents are in the hospital for various reasons, and so I had to go help them out. So why are they in the hospital? I guess we'll go there. So last Monday, for those of you who are watching the Brawl League Monday Night Brawl, Monday Night Brawl. For those of you who are watching that, I started off casting, and about not even 10 minutes in, I got a phone call from my dad saying that they were in an accident. It's not an accident. They were attacked, and I needed to come right away. Why were they attacked? I need to go back further back. I didn't plan this out at all. I felt like I needed to say this stuff before I continued on with anything. So sorry if this is a little bit disjointed. My dad has cancer. That's the bluntest way of saying it. He has multiple myeloma, and he's been getting treatment for a while. I don't generally talk about my family or things of this nature, mostly because I don't think it's a burden. It's something I don't really want to put out there into the world and put pressure on people to deal with. So I usually keep it to myself. But my dad has cancer, and he's been getting treatment, and for a while it was getting better, but lately it hasn't been. They were going to Arkansas, to Little Rock, Arkansas, to get treatment for his multiple myeloma. There's a really good research center there, and so my parents were driving up there. On the way up there, they drove. So we're from Texas, so they drove from Texas to Arkansas. On the way up there, they got a flat tire, which was unfortunate. They ended up driving to a discount tire, got fixed. That set them behind about 3 hours, I think. But they continued on their way. They got to Texarkana, and then a couple miles outside of Texarkana, they I guess hit a road bump. The easiest way to explain it is the roads are 2 lanes, and suddenly they went to 1 because there was an 18-wheeler, the cab of an 18-wheeler, on the right side, that was pulled over. Sorry if this they told me the story secondhand, so if there's weird details or anything, you can actually find out all this information online. There's a news article on it out there. But there was an 18-wheeler pulled over on the side, and this lady was out in the street yelling at people, trying to get them to slow down. And so everyone, they slowed down, went over to a single file lane, and they were going together in that single file lane. They thought it was a car accident. My parents thought there was a car accident between the 18-wheeler and something else. I mean, it's a big 18-wheeler. They couldn't see on the other side. They didn't know why. They just, okay, well, we got to go to the other side. So they go into the left lane, and they're in this van in the left lane, and they are sandwiched between a truck and another truck. And they're going. And then on the right side, they see a person, and they realize that the reason this 18-wheeler and this lady are out is because there is a person on the street, and the intention was to not run over this person. This person, however, didn't have the same mentality. This young individual, this male, came up to my parents' car and stood in front of it, and more or less kind of threatened or challenge them to run him over. So my parents are kind individuals and did not intend to run him over. He kind of stood there, and he sat on the hood of their car, and they were like, okay, well, we don't want to run this guy over. So they backed up to try to put some space between him and them. And they were calling 911. And while they were calling 911, I guess he was doing like a mocking gesture. He like had his hand up to his side of his face and was kind of like laughing at them. for calling 911. I guess for whatever reason, them backing up agitated him. So he jumped on the hood of their car and started beating in the windshield. My mom is, well, she's 50, and she was in the driver's seat. And the boot of this guy, 21 years old, taller than me, reasonably fit guy, was smashing the heel of his boot into the windshield right in front of my mom's face. My mom's like 90 pounds. My dad in the passenger seat, weak from cancer, calling 911 and just watching as this guy is beating in a windshield in front of my mom. Eventually, the windshield, while raining down glass, starts to peel away from the frame of the car. At this moment, my mom panics. She unlocks her car door and is just trying to get out of the way of this falling glass shard and boot that she thinks is going to come through the windshield. When she does, she opens the door to the car to try to get out. The male, the assailant, takes advantage of this, goes over to her, and punches her in the face. And then he goes for another swing, which she blocks, which ultimately broke her arm. One of the bones, one of the two bones. For those of you who don't know how your bone structures are, there's two bones here to help you rotate. One of them got broken. He punches her twice, grabs her, throws her out on the ground. He turns to the car and reaches for the keys. My dad, as quickly as he can, grabs the keys, and the guy grabs him. They have a little bit of, I guess, a scratching fest. I don't know how to describe it other than my dad got scratched up trying to peel the keys away from the car and the man. He gets the keys out, opens the door, and just thinks, okay, this guy wants the car, so I'm gonna throw away the keys. He throws the car keys out onto the highway. And so at this point, he knows this guy's coming at him. He's like ripping at the back of my dad's shirt, and is just like trying to get to my dad. And so my dad, he threw the keys out. He has his door open, so he's like, I got to get to these keys to make sure that this guy can't steal the car, cause more damage with our car. So he runs out into the highway, grabs the keys, puts them in his pocket, and turns around, and the guy's gone. And he's like, where'd the guy go? So he goes back to the car, and he sees my mom in the fetal position, just getting all hell rained down on her, punches and kicks from this guy, just beating the ever-living shit out of her. It's at this point that my dad hails some other individuals who were, I guess, watching for most of it, and they managed to subdue this guy, hold him down, and wait for the police to come. My mom immediately gets transferred to the nearest Texarkana hospital with my father, and then about 30. They think this is the kind of the comedic irony of the situation is 30 minutes later, this guy is wheeled in as well with a police escort, and they're very uncomfortable about it because they're like, well, if this guy escapes, he's gonna beat the crap out of us again. So my dad manages to escape with minor scratches and not too much major damage. My mom, on the other hand, has a broken elbow, a broken whatever bone in the arm there is, and a broken hip, because she is old and she is light, and he was not either of those things. So I flew out the following morning, Tuesday morning, after Monday Night Brawl to go be with them. That night, my mom got surgery. They put plates in her arm and got her a replacement, like half of a hip, I think. I don't think it's a full hip replacement, but they got her a replacement hip. From there, unfortunately, my father still needed his cancer treatment. So from there, he and I drove in a rental car the rest of the way to Little Rock, Arkansas, where we spent the week doing his treatment. It was doing testing for his cancer to kind of assess what would be the best course of action for his cancer treatment. So that's where I was from about Tuesday to Friday. Friday morning, we talked to the doctor, and the doctor's like, well, here's what I recommend. Do with it what you will. And my dad was like, okay, well, I'm going to think about this, but I need to get home, take care of my wife. Saturday, my mom gets driven in an ambulance back to our home city, where she is currently in physical therapy at the hospital. And she's been doing great. She's got a great attitude about it, and she's doing a lot better. My dad and I drove the whole way. Actually, I did the whole driving. So that's what if you follow me on Twitter, that's what I was talking about. Is I drove from Arkansas to Austin all in one day, because we had to get back and we had to go be with my mom. So that's where we got. I'm back to work. I visited my mom yesterday Monday and today. And so the short of it on why I may or may not be gone in the near future is, well, A, my mom is still doing physical therapy in the hospital, so I'll be visiting her occasionally. And B, my dad still needs treatment, so I'll be taking him to and from treatment on occasion. We have other people who are going to help take care of him. I have an uncle in Dallas who's willing to help. His brother, my dad's brother, also my uncle. I don't know why I'm being so convoluted about that. Is also going to be helping on occasion. So we have a bunch of people who are willing to help. But I mean, more or less at various points, I'll have to go and take him to treatment. He hasn't really made a decision. He might be going to Little Rock, Arkansas, in which case I'll be going with him again at some point to come take care of him. Or he might be doing it a little bit closer to home to be with my mom. But I mean, that's kind of the story. That's really the end. It's not done yet, so it's a to be continued. But on the plus side, the guy, the short of what was going on with this guy is he was on drugs. He's also not all there mentally. He's a little bit, I don't know what the proper phrase is, mentally deranged, or a little bit psychotic. I don't know. But he is currently getting a mental check, as far as I'm aware. They intend to prosecute him. The police force there in Texarkana, as well as my parents, are pressing charges. And hopefully he'll get the care that he needs. That was my takeaway about it, is with my parents, is they kept just saying, like, hopefully he gets the mental health care that he needs. Hopefully he'll be okay. That's what my mom, with a broken hip, broken arm, and broken elbow, is thinking about someone else. And so that's why, that's where she's at. But I felt like I was doing an injustice by keeping people in the dark. Generally, I would keep this stuff to myself, but since I intend to have a stream schedule and try to be a streamer guy and whatnot, I felt like I had to kind of explain why I've been gone, why certain obligations, certain intentions may or may not fall through, and everything else in between. But I think that's it as far as the story goes. Thank you guys for listening and watching. I'm going to stop the recording here.